Everyone knows somebody who should watch Kitchen Independence with David Doc Robertson, Saturday mornings at 10:30 on KPSE My TV.
Long, long time ago, as the song starts off, I was a student back in the Los Angeles school system. And I remember when I graduated from 6th grade and moved on to junior high school, and I discovered nutrition. And you know, I don't mean the nutritional values of food or anything like that. What I'm talking about is that 20-minute period in between a second and third period when you got to replenish yourself and get some snacks so that you can make it through third and fourth. That's the nutrition I'm talking about. We would wait in the hash lines, they called them hash lines, and we would stand in line for either a good old piece of grilled cheese toast and some coffee cake. And that's what I'm going to make for you today. We're going to make a grilled cheese sandwich and a good old LA Unified School District coffee cake. And it's going to come out just right because I got the recipe from an article where somebody wrote in to see if they could find the recipe from LAUSD. And I found that article and I'm making the recipe right from there. Okay? So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to mix right here in this flat pan. First thing I'm going to do, and I'm using this spatula, or ladle, not spatula, ladle. I'm going to get flour, and the recipe calls for 2.5 cups. And I know that this ladle is a 1/2 cup of flour. All right? Now, we're working on the dry ingredients first, okay? Which call for 1 cup of white sugar, which is right here. We're just piling all of this stuff in here. Like I said before, this ladle is 1/2 cup. Alright, there we go. It wasn't quite full those other 2 times. And now, 1 cup of brown sugar. That's 1/2. Okay. Remember the ladle is 1/2 cup. Brown sugar gets pretty hard sometimes. There we go. Shake some of that off. Okay. There, we got that. We'll just put that right there. All right, now the recipe's called for 3/4 cups of butter, which I melted this in my mug here in the microwave. 3/4 cups of butter. All right. It calls for 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Oops. Let's see. I can measure out. I can see how much a teaspoon is. I like to go heavy on cinnamon anyway. There. I would say that's about a teaspoon. Oh, look over there. Yeah, okay. That should do it. And the nutmeg. A teaspoon of nutmeg. All right. should do it. And now we start to work this around while I reminisce with a little Stevie Wonder. Okay? My Sherry Amor, lovely as a summer day. Oh yeah. My Sherry Amor, distant as the Milky Way.
They knew they were acting on an impulse, but what is life without adventure? Though how would they measure success? 1 year or 2? Or maybe they would look at one another 60 years from that moment and tell each other that they did it. That's what they wanted and pledged in their hearts to work for it every day. Read about these two and their passionate dedication in David Doc Robertson's Body and Soul. Get yours today in paperback or the ebook format on Amazon.com. That's Body and Soul. Get yours today.
Now this can take a while and it can cause you to use a lot of muscles, so just look at this as an exercise or a workout, all right? So I have this done, have this mixed up, and what I'm gonna do, I need to put a half a cup of this into this container, and you'll see why shortly, all right? Let's get, and I'm gonna be precise with this. Just get a little bit more. Okay, there we go. That's leveled off there. Put a half a cup of that right in there. Okay, so I move this out of the way, and I'm going to add another teaspoon of cinnamon to this half a cup right here. Just a half a cup, or not half a cup, a teaspoon of cinnamon. All right. A half a cup would really make this into a hot cake instead of a coffee cake. All right? There we go. And now, I'm going to mix this in like this. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. You know why? Because I can't tell you who to sock it to. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. All right, that's coming out just right. Stick around and we'll be right back. Get the story behind the wheelchair. Experience the trauma of shattered dreams and a poetic boxing match that ended faster than a flash of lightning. I Tried to Box with God, a memoir of David Doc Robertson. Get yours today on Amazon.com. Welcome back. While you were away, I started on the wet ingredients right here in this pot. The recipe called for 1 egg, and for the wet ingredients, another teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a cup of buttermilk. And now I'm going to just mix all of that in here. Sorry for the scraping. Just going to get that all mixed up really good. And while I'm doing that, I want to give a shout out to you veterans. I want to thank you for watching the show. And more than that, I want to thank you for everything that you do for us, for our country. And if you ever have any questions about independence, feel free to contact me at my email right there on my website, and I will try my best to give you the best advice that I can. All right? So, I think we have this all mixed in pretty good. And now, and I guess you're wondering, why am I mixing that in a pot? Well, a pot has a handle on here that I can just pick it up, and even if I drop it, it will drop right here in with the dry ingredients. All right? So I'm going to add all of that right in there. I'm going to bring this a little bit closer so that I can incorporate it together. And one last ingredient that I forgot to add is 1 teaspoon of salt. So I'm going to add that right in there. That's about a teaspoon. And now I'm going to start to mix it all together. Mixing the wet with the dry. Okay. Remember, just take your time. This is coming along really nice. I'll bet you didn't know that coffee cake started off as a bread, and then it evolved into a cake to be had with coffee. And also, back in the old days, sometimes they would actually add coffee to the mixture. You can put raisins in this. That really sounds good to me. And maybe I might put raisins in a little part of it. Now it says you're supposed to put this in a big 9 by 13 pot or pan, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use some of the small little black plastic dishes that I have because for a couple of reasons. First of all, they don't weigh too heavy. I won't have any trouble putting them in the oven. And second, if, by the way, there's no such word as secondly, it's second, okay? That's just the English teacher in me coming out. Second, if I don't want to eat it all at once, I can pop 1 or 2 of the little pans right in the freezer and then just thaw it out, and it will be just like it was fresh baked. Okay? All right. That's something else I bet you didn't know. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to start putting them in pans and stick them in the oven at 375 for 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, so I'm buttering these pans. This is I think I missed a little bit on this one. Make sure you, when you butter a pan, make sure you get enough in there. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Make sure you get enough in there so that the cake will just slide right out. Okay. And I will just finish with this right on the edges there. Okay, so I'm going back to the ladle, and I'm just going to spoon this in here. Hopefully I can get my hand to operate the correct way. There we go. Try to get a lot more this time. There we go. And make sure it comes in evenly. You got to remember, it's going to rise over the edge, so you do not fill it up to the top. Get that right in there. And, okay, I think that one is done. And one more. There. All done. Okay, remember the 1/2 cup of dry ingredients ingredients that I took out of the first batch of mixture of the dry ingredients. Now you're going to see why I did that. And that's to sprinkle on top of the mixtures before we put them in the oven. And while it's baking, I'm going to make that cheese toast for you. So stick with us and I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. While you were away, I put the good old coffee cake in the oven at 375 for 35 minutes. While that's baking, I'm going to go ahead and make the cheese toast. Now, I bet you didn't know that people have been making cheese toast for almost 2,000 years, combining bread with cheese, and they started using it in the military right around World War II, along with things like Spam and powdered milk and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to use the cheeses that I like to use, but I'm also going to use or add a slice of good old American cheese. All right. So I'm going to add. You may not do this, but I'm going to add some mayo to this. Just a little bit. Set that over there. For this grilled cheese, okay. Oh, by the way, there's one thing I forgot to do. That's good mayo. Now, I have about 3 tablespoons of butter right in here. I'm going to melt that. There we go. So to be ready right when we put the sandwich in there, okay? So I'm going to start off with the American cheese. Here we go. Just like that. Okay. Get rid of that. And I have another mixture of cheeses right here. This is Colby, Monterey Jack, and triple cheddar. I'm going to add this to the other piece. Whoa, that's a lot, but it should melt right down. We're going to spread this around nice and evenly. And one extra thing I'm going to do is add a few sprinkles of garlic salt. Okay? That should do it. And mix it around a little bit more. And now I'm going to carefully put this in here. All right. And now for the piece, this is finely shredded. Okay. Just give it a shake, make sure nothing falls off in the pan. Okay. And there we go. All right. I'm going to turn that up just a little bit. Put it on a medium-low fire. Okay.
Hi, this is David Doc Robertson from Kitchen Independence, and I bet you're wondering why I use certain cooking tools. For me, it's a matter of convenience rather than choice. There are many benefits to using skillets. This full-size model is good for frying and even baking, but for me, it's quite heavy. I can barely lift it with both hands. and that presents a safety issue. This bulky semi-deep fryer with two handles also creates a safety issue when hot, since it is awkward to handle, though I do use it for mixing batter because of the flat, sturdy bottom. The pan I use is a lightweight stainless steel model. The handle is quite accessible, especially since I have little use of my fingers. Going back to skillets, however, I can use a small one because of the lighter weight. And finally, I use these plastic dishes from frozen dinners. They are lightweight, which makes them easy to handle, and I'm not afraid of dropping them. Good cooking to you, and let's be careful out there. Now, back to the show.
Okay, so this came out quite nicely, and I'm going to cut it in half. Oh boy. Yeah. You know the best part about grilled cheese sandwich? Is the gooey cheese. Yes. Okay. There. I think that did it. Set this down, and I'm going to give it a little try. There we go. Set that right there on top of that. And you can see how this is nice and gooey. Yeah. Okay. I've made quite a few grilled cheese sandwiches. I think this is the best one. I'm going to hand this over to the cameraman. But you can taste the garlic butter. You can taste the mixture of the cheeses in there. And the mayo, oh man, it just backs it up really well. Everything in there is working together as a team. And I would say that this grilled cheese is a slam dunk. Now we're just waiting for the cake, and we'll get to that in just a snap. Okay, the cakes are done. You know, the first thing I did was turn the oven off, and as you can see, I have to be quite innovative in order to reach those buttons way back there. Then I opened the door using a special string that I connected to it, and this is made out of leather. After that, I pulled out the rack so that the coffee cakes could cool off so that I don't get burned. I want you to know that I'm reaching in here because I know that this is cool. I let it cool off for more than 30 minutes. All right? Ah! Just kidding. All right. To do the best I can with the tools that I have, I'm very carefully let this fall into my hand, put it on my lap, push this back in. The other two are still in there, but we're just going to let those sit. I'm going to close this back. Alright, then I'm going to turn back around. Come with me. Right over here, and we're going to give it a try. This sure looks good. And you know, I'm going to use my big fork to give it a try, just because it feels good in my hand. Actually, when you're disabled, sometimes things just feel more comfortable, and I have a lot of control over this. And I'm just going to take a piece off the top. That was my favorite part. This is really taking me back to being in those hash lines, getting a piece of coffee cake, a little carton of chocolate milk, not hot chocolate, but chocolate milk. Oh man. And thanks for spending another 30 minutes of your time with us. I'm still David Doc Robertson. Until next time.